Red Bull came out of the Japanese Grand Prix as the dominant force, with Max Verstappen putting on a commanding performance that kept both McLaren's in his rearview mirrors. But from the looks of it, the reigning champions are just getting started. While many expected the RB21 to face ongoing struggles throughout the 2025 campaign, Red Bull have been working behind the scenes on crucial upgrades that could dramatically improve the car's balance and overall competitiveness. On top of that, they're putting serious faith in the upcoming technical directive from the Spanish Grand Prix onward, hoping it will significantly curb McLaren's momentum. Given all this, are we on the verge of a titanic clash between the McLaren duo and Verstappen? And more importantly, could this potentially be the deciding factor that prevents the four-time world champion from taking yet another crown with Red Bull? There's been a lot of chatter lately about Red Bull's current form. Despite the RB21 being dubbed an unpredictable machine, Verstappen is trailing Norris by just a single point in the Drivers' Championship after 3 races in 2025. Following the win at Suzuka, the team plans to roll out a series of developments based on the same concepts that brought them success in Japan. Moreover, they believe that the upcoming technical directive from the Barcelona GP will hinder McLaren more than any other team on the grid. During the Japanese Grand Prix, Red Bull introduced a revised engine cover and a modified rear suspension aimed at maximizing the beam wing's efficiency, while Yuki Tsunoda ran with a heavier rear wing setup, producing more downforce. Christian Horner seemed content with how well the team adapted to the changes. Meanwhile, Verstappen managed to extract every last ounce of pace from the unpredictable RB21, and with further upgrades planned, he's expected to have an even more forgiving platform in the coming races. Dr. Helmut Marko has emphasized that Red Bull needs around 5 races to bring in full-scale performance updates that can truly challenge McLaren. Waiting any longer, he warns, could prove costly. That urgency explains why Tsunoda was retained over Lawson for this season. Experience and immediate results matter in the chase for a 5th championship title. Red Bull has made it clear they won't hold back on any development, be it components or budget, in pursuit of making the RB21 a title-winning machine. Verstappen's victory in Japan, despite his dissatisfaction with the car's initial setup, shows just how much potential lies untapped within the RB21. The gap between the top contenders isn't massive, but McLaren currently hold a key advantage: tire management. They're also incredibly strong in qualifying, but Verstappen might be able to use McLaren's in-team rivalry to his benefit. As we saw in Suzuka, strategic missteps by the Papaya squad inadvertently gave Verstappen the edge. However, for consistent results, Red Bull still needs to find another 2 to 3 tenths per lap. To assume that McLaren will stay complacent while Red Bull push through upgrades would be naive. All eyes are now on the Barcelona GP, where a new technical directive targeting front-wing flexibility is expected to come into effect. McLaren has been leading the charge in exploiting aeroelastic components, and that's why many believe they could be hit hardest by the FIA's crackdown. Ferrari, too, have found themselves under scrutiny. Pierre Watch has pointed out that the Scuderia may also be pushing the limits of flexibility regulations. While both McLaren and Ferrari have denied any wrongdoing, the truth won't be known until the FIA enforces the rule changes. McLaren's team principal Andrea Stella has acknowledged that minor adjustments will be needed, not just on the front wing, but at the rear too. Stella explained, "We don't need to do anything major at the start of the year, but by race 9, some small tweaks will be necessary." It's been blown a bit out of proportion, honestly. What we're really focused on is squeezing out those extra tenths, and that's where our headaches come from, not just compliance. This aggressive approach to development has been confirmed by McLaren CEO Zak Brown. He stated, "We're not just refining what we've got, we're going bold for 2025. We have some brave innovations in the pipeline. In 2024, the goal was to match the leaders. Now it's to beat them. One thing is for sure, Red Bull is betting big that these rule changes will knock McLaren off their current pedestal. If that happens, the MCL 39 could fall back into the clutches of the chasing pack, setting up a fierce midfield scrap rather than the 1-2 dominance we've seen recently. Let's not forget, Red Bull began the 2024 season in dominant fashion. But once the rest of the field started rolling out their upgrades, especially from Miami onwards, it became clear we were heading for a tight battle in both championships. Verstappen showed in 2024 that he's capable of taking a title without having the outright fastest car, echoing the likes of Keke Rosberg and Nelson Piquet in the early 80s. He's now more involved than ever in the development of the RB21, which signals how serious the situation has become for the team. So what are these upgrades Red Bull are banking on? First off, just because the 2026 regulation overhaul is looming doesn't mean they're abandoning the current season's car. In fact, they know this could be their last realistic shot at securing a fifth title with Verstappen before the grid gets reshuffled. Red Bull is expected to pour significant resources into the car's concept, particularly focusing on improving overall stability. Too often, the RB21 has behaved like a wild animal, barely controllable, even for Verstappen. But with expanded wind tunnel time available, Red Bull's engineers have been able to isolate key areas of improvement. The first wave of upgrades aims to deliver a car that is 2 to 3 tenths quicker and with a broader performance window. This could also unlock more potential in Tsunoda, who is racing with a view to solidifying his future. Red Bull could strategically use both drivers to keep Verstappen in a secure position, especially if they can't match McLaren's outright pace. Remember, Verstappen doesn't need the best car by a mile, just one that's consistent enough to keep scoring big. Formula One is notorious for existing in regulatory gray zones. That's why the FIA is constantly working to close loopholes and maintain fairness. The line between innovation and illegality is razor thin, and this has caused controversy time and again. Take the infamous mini DRS trick discovered on McLaren's car in Baku last year. Even after the rule clarification, there are allegations that McLaren, and possibly Ferrari, continued to exploit the system into 2025. But all eyes will now turn to the new front-wing flexibility limits coming into effect in Barcelona. The FIA's aim is to completely eliminate front-wing flexing, giving teams a few races to comply before penalties kick in. Red Bull is optimistic that, by the time their upgrades land and the new rules bite, they'll be in a much stronger position to challenge the MCL 39 for the title. Verstappen summed up his mindset perfectly when he said, "If I was in the rocket ship McLaren built, you'd see a very different version of me." Following his dominant win in Japan, he added, "I'm really satisfied with how I've handled the car this year. Honestly, I don't even want to think about what would have happened if I was in a McLaren. You wouldn't be seeing me." So now we ask you, can Red Bull really close the gap to McLaren? And will the looming technical directives, combined with their aggressive upgrade plan, be enough to shift the balance of power? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to click the video popping up on your screen right